'80s were a time of neon colors, outrageous hairdos, and some truly underrated films. These films may not have had the same cultural impact as The Breakfast Club or E.T., but they offer a unique and nostalgic journey back to the rad decade that was the 80s. Repo Man. Alex Cox's directorial debut is an offbeat gem that's part punk rock, part science fiction, and all-around 80s madness. Emilio Estevez stars as a punk rocker turned repo man in a dystopian Los Angeles, and the story just gets weirder and more delightful from there. A rogue's gallery of characters, bizarre dialogue, and a plot about a Chevy Malibu with a potentially apocalyptic secret in its trunk make Repo Man one of the most unique cinematic experiences of the 80s. Real Genius. Before Big Bang Theory made nerds mainstream, Real Genius was the go-to nerd fest. Val Kilmer stars as Chris Knight, a brilliant, irreverent science prodigy who, along with a group of misfit geniuses, unwittingly develops a powerful laser for the military. The film is a wacky celebration of science and intelligence. Midnight Madness. 5 teams embark on an all-night scavenger hunt throughout Los Angeles, each with their own quirks and eccentricities. This film is 80s nostalgia to the core, from the colorful fashion to the pre-GPS, analog clues. While it's not Oscar material, it's an entertaining, harmless romp that captures the spirit of youthful adventure. After Hours. When you think Martin Scorsese, you probably think of crime dramas like Goodfellas or Taxi Driver. But in 1985, he took a detour into comedy with After Hours. This darkly comedic film follows an ordinary man's increasingly absurd and surreal night in Soho. Scorsese's sharp direction and Griffin Dunn's hapless everyman performance make After Hours a quirky masterpiece. It's a tense, funny, and occasionally disturbing trek through late-night New York. River's Edge. A disturbing story about a group of teenagers who discover that one of their friends has murdered his girlfriend. With a young Keanu Reeves and Crispin Glover giving intense performances, this film is a haunting exploration of apathy and moral decay among youth. It's a tough watch, but provides a stark contrast to the often romanticized portrayal of the 80s. Miracle Mile. Have you ever picked up a ringing payphone? Harry Washello did, and boy, did it change his night. Miracle Mile begins as a sweet romantic comedy about 2 people who meet at the La Brea tar pits. However, after Harry answers a misdirected call warning of nuclear holocaust, it morphs into a frantic race against the clock. Return to Oz. This is not your grandmother's Wizard of Oz. It's darker, weirder, and much more unsettling. A young Fairuza Balk stars as Dorothy, who finds Oz in a state of ruin upon her return. The film's bizarre creatures and dark tone turned off audiences expecting a light-hearted sequel. But it's that daring departure from the norm that makes Return to Oz a curiosity worth revisiting. Better Off Dead. The 80s was a decade rife with teen comedies, but Better Off Dead manages to stand out from the crowd. The film follows Lane Meyer, played John Cusack, a teenager who becomes depressed after his girlfriend dumps him. While that premise might sound morbid, the film is anything but. Buckaroo Banzai. Across the Eighth Dimension. A neurosurgeon, rock star, and physicist walk into a bar. No, it's not a setup for a joke. It's the premise for Buckaroo Banzai, Across the Eighth Dimension. This sci-fi comedy is about a genius, multi-talented hero, Buckaroo Banzai, who fights against alien invaders from the 8th dimension. It's a wild, absurd, and genre-blending trip that manages to be both self-aware and serious about its premise. Strange Brew. And last, but certainly not least, we have Strange Brew, a film about 2 beer-loving Canadian brothers who get jobs at a brewery only to uncover a sinister plot. This film is based on the Great White North sketches from SCTV and stars the hilarious duo Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas. With its quotable lines and affable characters, Strange Brew is a delightful concoction of humor and heart.